Today, I'm going on a style journey with one of the original supermodels. Mother, businesswoman, television host and actress, the fabulous Elle the Body Macpherson.
What an introduction.
So excited to have you here. Less excited to be having to sit next to the most beautiful woman in the world, but hey-ho, hey-ho.
Listen, you're beautiful. We are all beautiful.
Well, beauty from within. I mean, I must admit, I've always had a bit of a girl crush on you because I just love the way that you have combined health and beauty and wellness all together. It's never been just about fashion. And so you just have this wonderful effortless style, and
Thank
to
you.
me that is so iconic. It really is. You are a complete inspiration, I would say, to women around the world, and I know that you feel passionately that beauty comes from within. You've been on your own wellness journey,
Absolutely.
I know, and which led to the creation of Wellco. But I would love you to just share a tiny bit of that wellness journey with me.
Yeah, it has been a journey from starting, modeling when I was very young and learning how to look after and hone the body. So that I was, fit and vibrant and in shape for work. And then that sort of progressed into becoming a mother, and so becoming pregnant and having my sons and breastfeeding and then losing the weight and then going back to work. And so I was sort of getting this idea of how important it was to be well as you work and parent. And not only wellness for me, but like, how do I nourish my children well? How do I live a balanced life? Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual life. And how do I sort of incorporate all that? And then when I turned 50, I sort of hit a wall, and everything that I was doing that I'd sort of learned how to do wasn't working anymore. I realized that I couldn't just rely on genetics, that I had to be much more diligent about how I was looking after myself, but I didn't know where to begin. And I went to see doctors, and I was like, I'm working out the same as I've always done. I'm eating the same as I've always done, but I'm not sleeping. My hair's brittle, my skin's dry. I have no sense of vitality. I get up in the morning, I'm always tired. I'm living off coffee, just drinking coffee, and I'm taking all these vitamins, and I just feel kind of like I've been through the ringer, and I'm emotionally imbalanced. And nobody said to me that there's anything to do about it. They just said, you're 50, so your body's going through changes and it's normal. And I was like, no. There has to be a better way, and I was so sort of distraught. I went on a sort of exploratory kind of journey to find a great doctor, and I found somebody here on Harley Street in London. I was living in London at the time, Dr. Laubscher, and I went to see her, and I remember just bursting into tears saying, I don't know what to do anymore, like I put on weight, I don't recognize myself, I don't feel myself, my moods are all over the place. I'm taking all these vitamins and nothing seems to be working. I feel depleted all the time. And she said, well, first of all, the vitamins that you're taking are synthetic, and so your body's not recognizing them. They're not bioavailable. And
So
I
that was
like,
a complete waste.
yeah, a waste of money and a waste of time and not supportive. And so she put me on a series of sort of vitamins, minerals, greens, probiotics, prebiotics. It was actually 50 sort of capsules that I was taking throughout the day. And within about 6 weeks, everything changed. I, lost weight. My skin was more tight. Nails grew, hair grew. I felt amazing. Sugar cravings stopped. Sleep got better, and I was hormonally more balanced. My digestion was balanced. My sleep, everything.
Wow.
And so I said to her, I'm loving this program, but I can't be taking these capsules all day long. Like, we've got to find a better way. And I said, do you think you could just sort of put everything together in sort of one like powder or something that I could take in the morning. And she said, yeah, I think I can do that. So the Super Elixir was born through my own desire to have support. And it's multivitamin, mineral, probiotics, prebiotics, and adaptogens, and is bioavailable. So it's, made from whole foods. And so your body goes, yeah, I recognize that. And then it supports all 11 systems of the body, which is a very long answer to say how Wellco first, came about. And then I had the kind of issue of, how do I share this with women? Like, how do we start of inspire women to want to take this so that they can feel what I felt? Because my mission became bigger than me, bigger than a company, but it was really about, how do I empower other women on their journey the way I've been empowered? It changed the way I looked. Not only did it change the way I feel, which was the most important for me, but it also changed the way I looked. And we realized that, beauty is, when you look at all your beauty program, the topical beauty can only go so far. It really needs to, you need to feed your cells, the mitochondria of your cells, which is like the heartbeat.
It really needs to come from within, doesn't it?
Yes, and within the cell too.
But so you've got these powders, and for those intermittent fasters that exist.
Yeah, me.
How do you break your fast with the Super Elixir?
Yeah, I tend to. That would be the first thing I would take. So, I'm a sort of a lax intermittent faster because I really like matcha.
You do not look it.
So in the morning I will have an oat milk matcha, which is probably breaking my fast. But I have that because I weaned myself off coffee, and I just, I eat early in the day. So I eat like at 5 o'clock, and then the next thing I have is my matcha in the morning, and then I have my greens.
And you take your greens, in water?
Yeah. So we have a hydrator bottle, and I just fill the hydrator bottle up, and I put 2 heaped tablespoons. They say teaspoons, but I put tablespoons in, and then I shake it, and I have that. That's the first thing I have.
Does this Super Elixir break your fast?
No, it doesn't, because there's no calories in it.
Do you feel like you're more in your body now than you've ever been?
I'm more in my heart now than I've ever been. I was probably very much in my body growing up. I mean, that was what I was taught to do, to sort of hone my exterior. And today I'm really focusing on my heart and my intuition.
I'm talking about the honing of the body. Was that something you consciously did as a child or as a teenager?
Oh, no. No, it didn't even occur to me. It was only through modeling and wanting to do the best job I could possibly do. And I wanted to be professional, and I wanted to be, I was extremely well paid, or continue to be extremely well paid for what I do. And I wanted to show up and be the best I could possibly be.
I mean, so much has changed in the modelling world since you started. What are your views on that? Is it a good thing, the changes that have happened?
Change is always, listen, the only constant thing in life is change. And I think we'd be wise to evolve and adapt to the changes that come about every day or every week or every moment. So I think change is always, to go with the flow of change is where it's at. And, in the modelling world, when I first started, the more distanced you were from your public, the more iconic you were, the more successful you were. And today, the closer you are to your community, the more accessible you are, the more successful you are. And I think the girls that have been able to, or the women that have been able to navigate many decades of successful careers, have understood that the old way of being isn't going to be as well supported as being more accessible. And I think we're interested in, as I said, this inner beauty, this soul beauty that comes through experience, it comes through sharing your heart, it comes through shining your unique self, understanding yourself and shining that into the world. And the more we do that, the more people find you attractive. And so that's why we have, people that have been working for many, many years have understood that. Whether they've done it consciously or subconsciously, I don't know, but that's the changes that I'm seeing, and I think it's wonderful.
I think you're so right there, and I think that was a phenomenally eloquent answer. And I am loving seeing more representation of our generation. And I just wondered what your thoughts were on that, because you've got this amazing long career that has evolved and evolved and evolved. And I would imagine that when you set out, you probably didn't think that at your age you'd still be modeling and still...
Yeah, it didn't occur to me that I'd be still doing fashion magazine covers at 60, you know.
I mean, bravo, it's fantastic.
Well, I think it's wonderful that we are really, we're really embracing the concept that beauty is soul deep, not just skin deep. And that somebody's experience, way of being, their essence is what we find attractive, charismatic, magnetic even. And we're seeing that all over the media today, that whether it's, as I said, whether it's conscious or not, we are seeing a real appreciation to something that is way more profound than sort of the symmetry of a face or the color of your eyes or the shape of your body.
Says the body. But today we're going on a style journey.
Yes.
So I wondered how you decided what you would wear here today.
That's such a good question. I have my beautiful friend Nina Morris, who I've worked with for so many years, and every time I'm in London, she dresses me. I call her and I said, "What have I got? What have I got?" And she does the perfect rock and roll suit. And today she said to me, I said, "What do you want to wear?" She said, "What do you want to wear to Amanda's?" I said, "I want to do rock and roll, but I want to be comfortable." So I have these incredible, I can show you, incredible
Love these
velvet sweatpants that she's made, and a sort of silk shirt and cord jacket. And I love these colors. They're sort of my vibe at the moment. And, you know, she's so talented, and I'm very pro supporting women-founded businesses and women who create by hand, individual. I love the sort of individuality, the uniqueness, and the attention to detail that that a lot of the businesses that I support, including Nina, I think she's a really... And I love her spirit.
I think there's something about being a woman designing for women.
Yes.
I always felt this passionately.
Yeah.
We just approach it in a different way.
Yes, true.
And I'm not saying that male designers are not kind, but there's an innate kindness in the way
Well,
a
it's
woman
an understanding.
approaches. Yeah.
It's an understanding. And I think it's about... And you've always been amazing like this. You've always wanted women to look strong and empowered in their natural beauty without detracting from it. And I think that's so important.
Can I quote you on that? I love that. You grew up in Australia.
I did.
So I have this vision of you and your siblings running around the beach and just that sort of joyful, carefree existence.
True.
Bikinis?
Well, I mean, it's not really the stereotype of like I grew up in the bikini on Bondi Beach, but I did spend a lot of time in nature, and I had a huge appreciation for the beauty of our country, and I wanted to be outdoors. You know, I wanted to be in nature. And as I got older, sort of in my later teens, I was always swimming, so one-piece Speedos. And then I started windsurfing, and so I was on the beach a lot. It was amazing, and people at that time were not windsurfing. Yeah. You know, it was sort of a new sport, and I loved the freedom of it, and I loved the kind of athleticism behind it, and I loved the feeling of taking waves and sort of being sensitive to the wind and to the breezes. And
being in nature.
Yeah.
Really and working with the wind.
And that's my biggest joy, apart from being with my children, of course.
Do you still windsurf?
No, I don't, but I did try kite surfing.
Oh, I was going to say, please don't tell me you kite surf.
I did try it.
I look at that and I just
it's
get
so hard.
terrified.
It's really hard, but it's great fun.
Were you very aware of your mother's style growing up?
My mother is still beautiful. And so I grew up in the 70s. I'm born in 64. So, you know, by the time I'm 10 years old, it's mid-70s.
Yeah.
And my mom... she was so chic. She sort of wore flared jeans and billowy shirts, and she had a page boy haircut and little vests and things like that. So I was really influenced by her. And my father was a sound engineer, so it was sort of 70s music and 70s dress. And my father also loved architecture. So that whole vibe is something that was very prevalent for me as I was growing up. And I think it's influenced everything that I've done since.
I mean, I can see in your style that sort of, there is an element.
There's a nod
that.
to it.
There is a nod to it. Do you remember your very first time that you realised the power of clothes? You put something on and you felt different. You felt fantastic.
Yes, it
Or
was a
not.
slow burn. It was a slow burn. Working with some of the great designers, often I felt like the clothes wore me. I didn't know really how to, particularly in the 80s. I mean, we had shoulder pads like this and, it was sort of larger than life.
You were really wearing foreign objects, weren't you, almost in the 80s?
And they looked, and I already had broad shoulders and a smaller head. So I always felt like sort of, what's his name? David Byrne in Talking Heads. I always felt a bit like that. But I loved working with Valentino, for example, because I'd never really had a chance to wear those sort of more couture evening dresses. And, then as I started being more of a corporate wife, those occasions came up. And I started to wear Valentino dresses with flip-flops because I didn't want to wear heels. I didn't want to tower above everybody, and I wanted to be comfortable. And Valentino always made me beautiful and feminine and comfortable. And then, of course, Azzedine, working in his studios with him sewing, clothes on your body, made for you.
That must have been a fascinating experience.
Yeah, well, I think at the time it was tedious because it was long hours on your feet. And he would always ask your opinion. What do you think about this? Should we tighten it here? Do you like the way that fits? What about, so it was a co-creation, really. I mean, of course, nobody really creates with Azzedine, but he really did incorporate your perspectives on what was comfortable, what you liked, what you thought was beautiful.
Now, I've heard stories of Azzedine being incredibly generous with you girls because you were just so iconic, and the way you wore Azzedine in the 80s. Do you still have any of those pieces?
I have so many Azzedine pieces.
I love
and
that.
I still wear them, by the way. Some I can't fit into, obviously. And some of them, in the beginning when he was working with sort of acetate, it didn't age well.
Yeah.
So it sort of started to fall apart after about 20 or 30 years. But I have storage units full of his beautiful clothes, Saint Laurent, Chanel, and I don't know quite what to do with it because it's not who I am today. And I don't want to give it away, and at the same time I haven't figured out how to sort of sell the collection, so that's a work in progress for me.
Do you feel that you would never go back and wear any of it?
I always dreamed I would. I always thought I would, but I'm a different woman today.
Yeah.
I dress differently and I feel differently in my skin, and my lifestyle is much more relaxed. And even when I go to black tie events, I do it with a sort of ease.
God, I would love to see that archive. That would be amazing. You have two sisters.
Yes.
How was it? Was there sibling rivalry growing up in terms of clothes and getting dressed up?
Oh, no.
No.
Well, first of all, my younger sister is 18 years younger than I am.
Right.
So I was already living in America when she was born, basically. And then my middle sister, we were not that interested. We had rival about music. Like we shared a bedroom. Who was going to listen to what music? But clothing-wise, not really.
So that's interesting. So what lit your fire to go into the modelling world?
Oh, it was a leap of faith, really.
Because it wasn't a desire to get into fashion.
Not at all. I wanted to go to university, and a girlfriend of mine suggested it, and it sparked my heart. She said, "Why don't you try modeling? You can make some really good sort of pocket money from it." And I thought, well, that sounds kind of interesting. How hard can that be? And the hours were good.
Then you realised.
And so I just took a leap of faith, and I thought it would be just a sort of after school job, because I think some of my first modeling jobs were, I was still in a school uniform. I'd show up, at 3:00 after I finished school and do local department stores and things like that. And I was just really happy to have the financial independence, to tell you the truth. It was really about having freedom. It wasn't about expressing myself in fashion. It was about, okay, here's a fantastic way to have financial independence and freedom and meet new people and explore, get to know myself.
And so you went from Sydney to
New York City in 1980 to 1983.
Wow, that was a culture shock, I would imagine.
It was.
But amazing.
A welcome one.
Yeah. Did you find yourself getting involved in the club scene at all? Because the 80s club scene in New York, she says, with feeling, was amazing.
Yes, but you have to remember I was married very young. So I got married when I was 21, I think, or maybe 22. And during those periods of time, I was working a lot with my husband. And so
you were married to Giles
Bensimon,
the photographer, very famous photographer.
Who I worked with on Monday. Who's so amazing. He's like 85 now, and he's still constantly reinventing himself. Like, he did a light that I've never seen him do. And I've seen all his work. We worked in the studio, and I've seen so much of what he's done. And I love the way he's relentlessly energetic and inspired and curious. He's curious like a young boy, He's open and curious and willing to try new things, and conscientious and deeply respectful of a woman's beauty.
Wonderful. And did you feel sort of almost just like old times behind the camera with him, or in front of the camera, I should say?
Not really, because in the very beginning, when I first started working with Gilles, I was intimidated, and I was constantly looking at him for approval or direction or acceptance, like I was with everybody at that time in my life. And so now when we work together, it's just, he stands behind the camera and he moves his finger, or he raises an eyebrow, or, it's like there's a sign language between us that it's a language of understanding. And I do my thing. And he texted me the other night. He said, I'm editing. And I just said, Gilles, I'm so deeply grateful that you bring out the best in me every time.
Oh, that's lovely. No, so you moved to New York in the early 80s. Did your style change immediately that you touched down?
My style didn't change when I got to New York, because I didn't have any money to buy clothes. I was sort of trying to act the part of a model. I wanted to be fashionable. I wanted to sort of show up and be kind of what I thought a model should look like. But, it took many years before I was able to sort of financially support that and understand it and sort of develop my own style that I could command. In the beginning, I was just sort of showing up and grateful that I had hair and makeup artists and stylists that would dress me and kind of turn me into whatever it was that I was supposed to be, that I thought I wasn't, but I always was, because it's really about who you are as an essence. But I didn't understand that. I thought it was all about hair and makeup and clothes.
Yeah. And you say that Gilles was a lot older than you. You got married very young. Did he impact on your style at all, would you say?
Yes, Gilles really had a big impact on my style, because he taught me to be understated. And I would dress like a schoolgirl, basically. I had loafers, black loafers, brown loafers, suede loafers, blue jeans, Levi 501s, T-shirts, grey T-shirt, white T-shirt, navy blue blazer, hair up in a ponytail. And that was it.
Very chic.
Well,
very chic.
Timeless.
Yeah, very chic. I mean, you must have been on this sort of crazy journey with all these different designers and different moments in fashion. Do you have one particular outfit that stands out in your mind as something that was really precious to you?
My wedding dress is is the piece that really stands out, but not only because it was this incredible Azzedine Alaia couture piece that he had made for me with a sort of, shroud, and it was sort of designed on the body so it looked like a bathing suit on the top, but was a long fishnet, and then it had sort of a muslin jacket over the top that was really beautiful. But more importantly, it represented so much more. There was a rebellion to it. I think my idea of a wedding dress was like a princess dress, and here I was in this sort of Mary Magdalene sort of statuesque robe that was completely so far in advance of anything we've ever seen as far as wedding dresses is concerned. And, I was marrying somebody who was much older than me. And so there was a sort of individual stance that was taken whilst wearing that dress, and on all levels, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, as well as the fact that the dress was just gorgeous.
It was breathtaking. I mean, did Gilles have any idea which designer you were working with?
It was a given that it was going to be Azzedine. We were both very close to him,
Yeah.
and when we told Azzedine we're getting married, he just said, "Oh, okay." And the next thing I know, there's the dress.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you remember fittings with him?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
How magical. Where is said dress right now?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, no. Right, we'll move right along from there. But, you talked about sort of moving to New York and not really knowing your style at the beginning. When do you feel that you really discovered your style DNA?
At 2 years old, I knew what I didn't want.
At 2 years
At
old?
2, because
Oh,
I remember
love
when
it.
I was a child, I was lying in a cot in my parents' house, and I remember seeing this dress. It was hand knitted. It was grey wool, and it had like a red stripe around the bottom. It was sort of a pinafore dress. I guess you put like a shirt on underneath. And I remember lying in my cot looking at it, and it was sort of in a coat hanger, like ready for me to wear when I woke up. And I remember thinking, I don't want to wear that dress.
No thanks.
It's itchy, and I don't like the colour. And I'm 2 or 3, however old you are in a cot, not much more.
Yeah.
So I definitely knew what I didn't want as I was growing up.
That's a very early memory.
And it's so bizarre that I can even kind of recall that, but I do.
If someone were to describe your style DNA in 3 words, what would you want those 3 words to be?
Oh, that's such a good question. Well, I want them to be what they see. How I see myself as individual, easy. Personal is individual. So I individual, easy, unique.
Effortlessly chic comes to mind for me.
Me.
Because you're one of the chicest women I know.
Thank you.
I would love to know what you feel are the secrets to staying stylish as the years creep by.
Yeah, that's always such a great question. I believe that the way we stay stylish, as you would say, is to always be aligned with who you are. So be the perfect, pure expression of who you are at every given moment. And that will change because we grow and evolve. And so, there'll be things that we will have loved when we were much younger that today perhaps don't resonate with us. But as long as we're constantly being ourselves, and when I say that, it's not just about the way you dress, it's about how you are in life. So I think women who are confident and balanced within themselves are incredibly stylish. It doesn't matter what they wear. They themselves have this sort of essence that is really attractive.
I think that's a really, really good answer, and I think it's really true. I think, and so often I was asked, how do I look in this? And I would throw it straight back and say, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And just seeing someone walk taller, just with maybe a little bit of a swivel in their hips, and then you just know that someone's happy in something.
Yeah, and also that when you feel confident and with who you are, it changes everything. You sit differently, you speak differently, you shine your unique beauty into the world, and it really has nothing to do with the clothes that you're wearing.
Yeah. I mean, you're famously known as the body, and you look incredible to this day, absolutely. But do you feel massive pressure to still live up to the name?
When I was younger, I did feel that I had to live up to the expectations of, showing up at work and being what people expect me to be. And in my personal life, I probably did that as well. Today, I have an expectation to show up and be me. And or not even expectation, I have a commitment.
And what is your sort of morning routine to be you?
Wellness is really important to me. So as I said, physical, emotional, mental and spiritual well-being. So in the morning, I wake up. Before I even open up my eyes, I do a gratitude list. So thankful for, and I have done one the night before, so thankful for a restful night's sleep, thankful for the opportunities that I have during the day. Thankful for being open-hearted and open-minded to anything that comes my way. Thankful that I'm able to stop and pause and breathe when I don't know the answers to things. And so I sort of center myself. Then I drink I drink a hydration that I make, which is about a big jar like this of water. And I put some salt in it, some Celtic sea salt and some lemon. And I prepare that the night before and I bring it up close to my bed. And so I drink that first thing in the morning. So hydrate as soon as I wake up. I don't touch my phone. I don't get into answering emails or texts or Instagram or anything like that because I feel that it distracts me from the day. I choose to sort of sit down. When I go to sit down at my desk, that's when I'll start to address things and not before. And I learned that by being a present mother with the boys. And I realized that I would only have an hour before they would go to school. And if I was on the phone, that time was gone.
Yeah.
And that was the only time they were seeing me before they get home from school. So no phones, gentle, slow movement in the morning, and then once they would go to school or, once I'm sort of up and awake, I'll do some sort of movement. So I'll get outside, stretch, maybe do some sun salutations or a bit of yoga or some breath, and just move my body and ground, feet on the ground, if I can.
Love a bit of grounding.
Yeah, it really makes a huge difference and great for your immune system. And then I will have matcha, I'll have my greens, I'll have lunch, and then in the afternoon I have protein powder as a snack. I make a shake. I like oat milk, but you can do rice milk or coconut milk.
Do you have a grueling workout routine?
No.
Oh, I
Why?
love that
Who
too.
would do that?
No, I just...
What for?
You just sort of know that you have this wonderful reputation and body, and I just wondered how much effort goes into maintaining that
More
body.
effort goes into maintaining my balance within.
Lovely.
That's where the effort goes
Lovely.
today.
I mean,
it's effortless because it's it's just a sort of making a connection to your intuition and inner sense and inner being. And when you are balanced, everything else becomes more effortless.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, you talked about the boys, and I wonder, the mother of the bride conundrum. I know they're not about to get married, but I always think it's possibly one of the trickiest occasions to get dressed for. If one of the boys were getting married over the next year, what do you think you would wear?
Okay, so the boys are 25 and 21. No marriage over the next
I
year.
know.
No marriage over the next 5 years.
It's hypothetical.
Okay, hypothetically, I tend to go with my heart in the moment. I wouldn't be sitting here planning what I think I might wear in a year or 2 months or 3 months. I like to adhere to the values that are important to me. So individual, comfortable, unique usually. So it'll be something, but ultimately it won't be a decision that I'll make well in advance. I'll see how I feel and what the circumstances are, and it depends where we are and depends what kind of marriage they have, and there's so many deciding factors.
Ifs, ands and buts.
Yeah.
In 1990, you launched a lingerie collection, Elle Macpherson Intimates.
Yes.
And I know it was hugely successful.
25 years.
Yeah, amazing. Had many pieces. Did you always love lingerie?
Did I always love lingerie? I think at that time I was inspired by intimacy. So intimate relationship with yourself, intimate relationships with others, intimate relationship with nature. And I wanted to create lingerie that enhanced that sort of intimate relationship with yourself and be comfortable. And it didn't exist. There was always beautiful French lingerie, but it was uncomfortable, or American underwear was sort of utilitarian, or British underwear was utilitarian. So combining sort of lace and comfort and color was something that I was really passionate about. And I found a wonderful company in New Zealand that were great manufacturers, and we started working together, and we had a 25-year-long relationship.
It was so ahead of its time.
Well, I made for myself,
Yeah.
And so it was quite personal.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Fundamentally, who would you say you dress for?
I mean, I would say me, and for the greater part, it is me. Obviously, when I go to work, I have a stylist, and we have designers that we need to showcase for covers of magazines, and so to some extent, there's a sort of a desire to promote the designers who are of the moment, and so in that case, it's sort of working for them and for the magazines. But I always love the fashion industry because I feel that the fashion industry is an industry that is created by women for women, really. Most of the people in power are women, and we are designing for other women to...
Do you think so? I think that there's an awful lot of men at the top of the big houses.
But ultimately, the power is in the women that buy the clothes.
True.
So they have to listen to what women want. And there's wonderful designers like Maria Grazia, who I have a lot of esteem for at Dior.
Yeah.
And I work very closely with Dior in an ambassadorial role. And I love going to the shows every year and seeing what, how she uses her platform for her discussions or for her personal perspective on women in the workforce, women artisans, architecture, history, music. She combines it all together.
She is one of the most inspiring female designers.
Yeah, she really is. And she's constant.
Yes.
And prolific.
Prolific.
I think they do 17 collections a year.
I mean, the pressure is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. Would you consider that you have a style icon?
Any woman who's confident and comfortable in her skin is my style icon.
Oh, good answer.
True, though.
Would you say that age is a consideration, that in terms of hair and makeup and style, as the years creep by, would you say that your style has evolved hugely over those years?
Yeah, I'm always adapting to my innermost desires as far as style is concerned. I mean, I think I'm always me, versions of me, at least in the last 10 or 15 years, maybe even the last 20 years. So, yes, I am adapting and evolving, but there might be just imperceivable tweaks, the shade of the color of the hair according to the skin, winter to summer, length of hair. I've gone from very short hair to very long.
I was going to say,
it's
yes.
long at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling long.
But long and very pretty.
But it has been short, and I love that as well.
I mean, you've hosted numerous television programs and, Britain and Ireland's Next Top Model.
Right.
Did you ever feel like you were taken out of your comfort zone by a stylist on those programs? Or were you always very much in control of your image?
I've been in command of my image over time, but really it was just an expression of who I am. And so I chose a wonderful stylist, Anna Bromelo. She's here
she's
she's so cool. And she
Yeah.
understood me. She understood that there was, I wanted things that were interesting, unique, individual, that I was going to wear something my way and still be, respectful of. It has to have camera presence, and it needs to sort of, look great on the body, and I need to feel confident in it. But we experimented with a lot of different looks on Britain and Ireland's Next Top Model, and they were all sort of versions of myself.
I was going to say, I think you have always stayed very true to yourself, which I think is a real talent, and I wonder if that's also inspired by your very in your skin, in your body. You spend a lot of, not a lot of time as much as you're very conscious of being within yourself.
Well, I think we are all beautiful. Our uniqueness is what makes us beautiful. And it's about discovering that within ourselves and leaning into it. And that's where the magic lies. And as I said, there's people, like if you look at Serge Gainsbourg, for example, he wasn't considered a beautiful man, but he was charismatic. He was magnetic. I mean, the most beautiful women in the world fell in love with him because of his way of being.
So for those women that feel slightly lost, which it's easy enough to happen,
yes,
what would be your top tip to centering and feeling in your power?
I would remind women that their souls are beautiful. Who they are as people, how they see the world, what interests them, what excites them, what resonates with them. All that is beauty, as much as hair color and skin, makeup, and because that's what people get attracted to. The superficial thing will last for a minute, but who you are, how you be in this world is what will bring attention to you if that's what you're looking for. And I just think for women, if they can find, what they love and be 100% what they love, they will find their personal style.
On personal style, do you think that you have had a worst fashion moment? I always ask this. I cannot imagine you having a worst fashion.
I've had plenty. And there have been times when I've been younger where I was trying to be something I wasn't. So trying to emulate somebody else or try to be what I think everybody's expecting me to be.
Do you have a specific that you sort of
I tend to focus on my best fashion moments.
Yep. No, I'm going
to completely, well, not even positive and negative, because there is no negative. There's no mistakes. I mean, if we choose to learn from them.
Yeah.
And so any fashion mistakes I've made, the mistake was not being true to me.
Yeah.
And so I learned from that because I felt uncomfortable. Yeah. I didn't photograph well. Yeah. I felt like a caricature. And what I learned was when I can truly embrace who I am, and doesn't matter what you put on then, really. I mean, it's about who you are. And I learned from that. So it wasn't a mistake. It was a learning.
Love that. Let's talk about travel.
Yes, let's talk about travel. Considering I'm on the road all the time.
A globe trotter. Do you pay particular attention to your airport look?
I always love the airport looks. That's a sort of a new phenomenon that I never even really thought about. But I do pay attention to be sure that I am comfortable during the flight and I feel sort of polished when I get off the flight. And if you don't know what to wear, I always figure sunglasses and a great coat and a great bag.
And a hat?
No hat. But, that's kind of my vibe.
Yeah.
It's just sunglasses and a great bag and you rock.
Love that. Favorite luggage?
Rimowa.
Because?
It's sturdy, it's lightweight. I'm sort of
very chic
and
too,
it's very chic.
it?
I'm lusting after. There's a chocolate brown set at the moment that I'm so lusting after, but I can't bring myself to get it because I just got a new set not long ago. But so Rimowa is my luggage.
Are you a light traveller or a heavy traveller?
I say I'm a light traveller. The boys say I am preposterous. But I can get by. I have like the silver big cabin plus, and I can get by for about 4 days with hand luggage, and I quite pride myself on that.
I'm always really impressed by that.
Yeah, but meticulous packing.
Yeah,
that's what that is. And if not, I tend to take the kitchen sink. If I'm going to check it, it's like I take the kitchen sink, because there's nothing more frustrating than getting somewhere and needing something, and you've got it in your wardrobe at home, and then you feel like you have to go out and get it, or and then you end up spending more money.
Do you plan your holiday looks or your travel? Whether you're going on business or holiday, are you an organised packer?
I do tend to keep it tight and lean, and so I try on everything before I pack. So
and do you
make sure it fits. No, I don't take photographs. No, because on the day, I don't want to go, oh, it was that outfit. What did I have? I just sort of go with the flow in the day. But I do make sure that everything fits, that everything's clean, and that everything goes together. And so I can mix and match and keep it sort of easy and comfortable.
Wardrobe secrets. Which brand is your guilty secret and why?
Well, first of all, I don't have any guilt.
Oh, good.
And I don't have any secrets, really. Which
is your go-to brand then?
I love Nina Morris.
Yeah.
I love Isabel Marant.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of Dior because they're so generous with me. But other than that, I mean, I keep it pretty simple. Aviator Nation sweatpants and jeans can work for me.
And shoes?
I have so many shoes in my closet, and for some reason, I don't know why I can't let go of them. And I don't wear them. By the way, I live in Golden Goose.
And the highest heels, because you're what, 6 foot?
6 foot. 6 foot. Let's say 6 foot.
I
don't wear heels anymore.
Oh God, how liberating!
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So if you're wearing a dressed up Dior look, for example, what's on your feet?
Boots, flat boots.
Flat boots.
Often. Combat boots.
Big old chunky boots.
No, but Dior know me really well, and they never give me anything that has to be worn with the heel.
Yeah.
So I like flats. I just like the way I walk in them.
Yeah.
And I also have come to the point where, and it reverts back to this kind of concept of in the 80s, this iconic stature that we were in the 80s with 6 foot heels. And 6-inch heels, and being 6 foot, towering over everybody. That was sort of, that was totally apropos at the time. But today, I don't want to be towering over people. I want to look at people in the eye, and I want to have a conversation where they're not feeling like I'm sort of larger than life.
Yes.
I want to be with people, and so I tend to wear flat shoes so I can be truly, present with people.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Do you think it's an age thing too? You don't need that extra stature and power that comes from being, say, 6'3", that actually you're just more confident in your own skin?
No, not necessarily, because I think a lot of women are really confident in heels. That's how they feel they're best. They feel the proportion of their body is best.
I'm talking about you personally, though.
No, I think it's a question of the times. I mean, in the 80s, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And today I'm a different woman, and I choose to approach things differently.
Yeah.
And not just because I'm more confident within who I am, but also it just feels more fitting with the times.
Yeah. What, if anything, do you feel you have an excessive amount of in your wardrobe?
Oh, gosh, everything. But I don't buy a lot. I just keep a lot. I have racks and racks of jeans. So white jeans, black jeans, blue jeans probably takes out 3/4 of my closet.
And just on that, your approach to sustainable fashion, because that's a lot of clothes. How do you approach sustainable fashion?
Well, there's two ways really of looking at sustainability is longevity.
Yeah.
Not only simply the way that it's made, but you know, if you buy something and you continue to wear it for year after year, it has a sustainability, a long life
Absolutely.
to it. And I think that's important. And I do think it's good to be mindful of disposable fashion. You know, wear once and throw away.
Are you very conscious of the brands that you buy from in terms of their sustainability credentials?
Well, I'm conscious in the sense that not only are we looking at, you know, the incredible difficulty that some of these clothing brands, it's the people that work there, so the grueling kind of conditions that they have to work in. So that's one end of looking at sustainability. But the other end is looking at the incredible craftsmanship and expertise in hand-sewn, loved pieces of garments that we could buy. I saw something the other day from this Peruvian designer, and it's an all-woman's tribe that creates these incredible coats, right? So, you know, it's to look from both perspectives, not just one or the other, is to appreciate the work that has gone into some of these beautiful artisan creations. I think people see them sometimes and they don't realize what's gone into to making them.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about the warehouse full of clothes. I was going to ask you, what do you do when you've had enough of your clothes?
Well, I never really have enough of my clothes. I do like to, you know, when I go through changes or when I feel that I'm just keeping something just for the sake of keeping it, I tend to give it away to people that love it as much as I've loved it. And I'm finding myself doing that more and more.
And is that friends, family?
Friends and family usually, yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Are your boys interested in clothes?
Well, they're not interested in my clothes.
Are they interested in your look, your style?
Yeah, they usually let me know when they think it's not working. I cut my hair not a year ago, whenever, and my youngest looked at me and he says, "What have you done?"
Oh,
and I said, "Don't you like it? It's so fresh and young." And he's like, "Mum, long hair." I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Do you ever buy vintage?
I have. I remember wearing an incredible vintage Indian, like Rajasthani cocktail dress that, what was her name? Lorenz Scott.
Oh, yes.
Bless her. Had found for me, and I wore it to the premiere of Batman. And it was so beautiful. It was all hand beaded.
I remember that.
It sort of fit like this 50s cocktail dress, all embroidered, sort of 3/4 lengths, and I pulled my hair up, and I just absolutely loved it.
What's the oldest piece in your wardrobe? It might be a vintage piece. Or
I'm
just might be
probably the
something.
oldest
Oh,
piece in the wardrobe because I'm in it so often packing. What have I jeans, probably. Jeans that I've had, since I was in my 20s. I probably kept.
Well, chapeau to you that you're still in them. I think that's fabulous. Let's move on to some quickfire questions. What fashion advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Be you.
Which fashion trend would you most like to see make a comeback?
Do you know, I'm not really interested in looking at the past for inspiration. I really love sort of being in the here and now. And so whatever you've been infused with, and how you want to express it today is what I'm more interested in.
Very positive. What fashion or beauty trend would you consign to Room 101?
What's 101?
Room 101. This is always the question that people who are not Brits ask.
Right. No, I'm really curious.
It's where you would consign things that you really hate. It's like, put it away. You're going to tell me you don't hate anything.
So you give stuff to them because you don't like them?
No, you just never want to see that fashion or beauty trend.
Oh,
it's just a horror.
I don't know. I don't think I have anything.
Good girl.
Anymore.
You are Miss Positivity.
No, not positive or negative. Just,
Just you. What was your last impulse buy?
Oh gosh, I bought a Chloe jacket. It's cashmere and it's sort of like a 70s inspired, I guess, men's jacket.
Gorgeous. Views on tattoos?
No tattoos. My beloved does, but I don't.
Beauty treatment you couldn't give up?
Well, I could give up anything, but there are some things I choose not to give up, and that would be Wakeley Super Elixir.
Very good answer. Minimalism or maximalism?
Both.
Crocs, cute or puke?
Not for me.
Sneakers or stilettos?
Both.
Skinnies, boyfriends or wide legs?
I have all three.
Bodycon or boho?
I've done both. Probably more boho.
Sports luxe or rock chic?
I think rock chic suits my personality, but sports luxe suits my lifestyle.
Red carpet or relax?
Relaxed on the red carpet.
Love that. Cashmere or cotton?
Cashmere in the winter, cotton in the summer.
Shapewear or sexy lingerie?
Nada. Nothing.
Oh. Tights or stockings?
Neither.
Bikini or one piece?
I'd say bikini, and I like Melissa Rodebash, and a cover-up.
Trilby or Tracy?
Cowboy hat.
Oh, love that. Because of your beloved. Finally, one last question at the end of the day. What do you or don't you wear in bed?
What do I go to bed with a smile. I go to bed with a happy heart and an eye mask.
And no clothes?
My skin.
Lovely. Elle, thank you.
Thank you so much.
What a joy to spend this
It has
time
been
with
a
you.
joy.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
I get a lot of insight into you through this experience. And I'm so pleased to see you expanding and exploring this side of you in such a beautiful, elegant way. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you. That's a really, really
true.
lovely thing to say. It's I'm loving this new chapter.
Wonderful. And you know, in life, when we love things, we tend to be really good at it. And so that's one of the advices I give to my kids. I say to them, find what you love and do it. Because if you do that, if you find what you love and do it, it will never feel like work.
It's so true, and I am constantly giving that advice too.
Well,
There we go. We're on the same page. Thank you.
okay.